Hey everybody, it's your girl Nell. How are you doing today? It is Friday, October the 3rd, 2025, and I am in the tiny studio. Yes, I am. How are you doing this beautiful, beautiful Friday? It is sunny outside. Okay. You know what? We have had a really great summer season here in Florida. Um, we're in the month of October, and hopefully we'll be gliding into November without a hint of a tropical storm, tropical depression, hurricane. Oh my God. And I cannot remember, since I've been living here in Florida for 20 years now, I can't remember another season that has been as quiet as this one. And it's been pretty quiet, I must say. Um but we're all still holding our breaths because you never know. We still have to go through this month and November. So, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to be doing okay. We've had a really, really great summer season, rainy season. It's rain though every day, but that's all right. I'll take the rain over hurricanes any day. So, how are you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. I'm having a great Friday. I'm dressed up because I went to class this afternoon, and so I am just still kind of pumped from class, and made up, or not made up entirely. I just have on some lipstick, and that's about it. I have on some of my special concoction of potions, and I use that on my hair, I use it on my body, I use it on my face, and it keeps my face nice and glowing. Let me add some to it. And I make my own potions and lotions or butters and stuff like that. I make it myself because I put my own ingredients in it, and it smells good too. And it's good for your skin, it's good for your body, in my opinion, because it's just all natural. And I try to be as natural as I can when it comes to putting certain things on my body. Now, what I'm working towards is making sure and slowly getting myself off of medications that aren't natural, but that I'm using because I was born with congenital heart disease. So I'm on medications that, is supposed to be, well, it is, it's regulating the way my heart functions. But I'm trying to tell you, I would love to be able to get off of all things that are synthetic and really bad for you. But the things that I can control, I make sure that they are natural. I make sure that the things I put in my body is natural. I make sure the things I put on top of my skin is natural and good for me. So that's where I am at this beautiful, beautiful stage of my life. So today in the tiny studio, what am I working on? Well, I am planning to go home to Detroit next week because my niece is getting married. And unfortunately for us, we're going to have to get on the plane. And as you already know, the government has shut down. So you have people that are working for the airlines who are not getting paid, such as the TSA, not getting paid. Air traffic controllers not getting paid. And so I really feel I'm feeling distressed a little bit about, a little anxious about the trip, but all I can do is just try not to let the anxiousness or the anxiety overwhelm me, and think about, hey, it's my niece. My niece is getting married. I'm really, really excited for her, and I'm excited to see her. And um, I want to celebrate the joy that she is feeling right about now. I want to celebrate that with her. So I'm going to try to let some of this nonsense that's going around and swirling in our country, fall back a little bit while I get prepared for the wedding. I already have in mind what I'm wearing. I already have that laid out. I will be packing or beginning to pack probably on Saturday. And we're only going to be gone for about maybe 4 days tops. And so I have, already thought about what I'm going to be wearing, how I'm going to be, it's Detroit, baby, so I'm a Detroiter, a native Detroiter. So, I'm always thinking about fashion. I'm always thinking about how I'm going to represent myself. But I know I have to remind the hubby to put his suit in the cleaners. So, note to self, remind the hubby to take his suit to the cleaner so it can be ready by next week. I should also remind my son to bring his suitcase over because he has a giant suitcase. And so my husband and I are going to share suitcases because my suitcase has seen better days. Okay, it was brand new back in 2009, and now in 2025, it has been retired. It has been retired. It has just seen so much trauma going back and forth to the airport, being thrown down the stairs, stored in, storage units, it's just seen better days. So I decided I was going to invest in another suitcase, but my son has a really large suitcase that he travels because he likes to go to Mexico and he likes to go to the Dominican Republic. And so he has a really large suitcase. And so my husband and I are going to use his suitcase. We're going to share a suitcase. So that's going to help me out a little bit while I continue to research different suitcase brands or luggage brands so I can be able to get the best deal. That's one thing I've learned about myself in these, more mature years of my life. I've learned that when I'm investing, if I'm going to invest large sums of money into something, and when I mean large sums of money, I mean anything over $100. If I'm investing in it, I do all the research I could possibly do because, child, spending multiple Benjamins, okay, you better do your research because, these days things aren't made with the same efficiency and durability as they used to be made long ago. And I used to hear my parents say and my grandparents say things like that. But it's unfortunate that I'm saying it now too, being that, I'm guessing that the quality of a lot of things that we put that we really, we really need, the quality has gone down because of the materials that are being used. And it is so, so true because, I'm looking at certain things, I'm touching, the fabric and I'm touching the materials. Like I just invested in another laptop and you know what? That took me 2 years. It has taken me 2 years to buy a new laptop when I really, really, I needed one. But, I was using my husband's laptop because he has two. And, I just felt like, I'm doing the research because when I buy something or invest money like that, I expect it to last. I don't expect it to last a year or two. I'm talking about at least 5 or more. And so that's why it takes me so long to do things because I'm doing the research. I'm really a big, nerd on that. And so I finally bought a new laptop. Yes, I did. And the funny thing on that is I have been researching laptops for a very long time, but when I found this particular laptop, I hadn't seen really any videos about it, because I watched a lot of laptop review videos, and I didn't see any reviews about this laptop. And the reviews that I did see about it were all favorable. And I saw about maybe 4 different reviews, when I really said, okay, I think this is it. I saw the reviews and I was like, well, I wonder why more people aren't talking about it. And then I realized that a lot of these reviewers on YouTube and other areas of social media, they get paid a little bit of money, and then these companies send them the laptops to review, and they get free free electronics and technological things and products. And so I'm beginning to feel like maybe their opinion could be, may have been biased, and maybe that's also the reason why they did not review this particular laptop. My laptop is an HP ProBook, and it's a what they call a business laptop, and it is fantastic. I think I can't remember. It has 1 terabyte of storage. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you one thing about this laptop that sucks. It's the it's the speakers. The speakers suck, man. But that's the only down thing about it. The storage is magnificent. Um, it's streamlined, and it has a large screen. It's 16 inches. I'm blind, so I need all of that. And it's a really, really great laptop, and I don't have any issues with it. I put the Norton antivirus stuff on there, the VPN on there, and everything runs absolutely perfectly. And so I am just, I'm floored as to why there aren't any reviews about this laptop. And I've been thinking myself that maybe I should add a YouTube video here on the channel, about this laptop, because I really think it's great. And I've had two. Wow, no, this would be my third HP laptop. I've had two HP laptops in the past, and I've kept them for years and years and years. And so it's just really ironic that I would find another HP. And when I say it has a lot of ports, because I was thinking about buying a MacBook. That's where I was, buying a MacBook. But I'm not a Mac person. I don't have a Apple device or iPhone. I have an Android. I am a Samsung girl. You can't see this right now, but I'm a Samsung girl. I love Samsung phones. I am like I said, this is the hubby, but I am a Samsung person. I love my Samsung Galaxy phones. And so I was thinking about getting a MacBook, and a MacBook and a Windows product. Being I'm a Samsung girl, MacBook and Windows really don't go together. But I have been watching and doing research about using both. And I was thinking that maybe I would be able to adjust to using a MacBook and having a Windows phone, and I should say a Samsung, Android phone. So I had done the research and whatnot, but I was still on the fence about do I want to do this? Do I really want to, have a MacBook that I use every day, and then using it and pairing it with the Android? Even though there are some people who say, no, that's not going to work. You have other people that say it can work, but there are certain things that go along with it that can, make things a little more stressful for Android user using a Mac or Apple product. So at the end, when I just stumbled upon this new HP ProBook, I was like, oh, well, I'm a Hewlett Packard girl anyway. I'm also a Dell girl, but I haven't had a Dell in my life in about, I want to say 20 years. But, I said, well, this is perfect. I can, I have my Hewlett Packard, I have my HP, and then I have my Android, and I'm good, So I'm very excited. But like I said, I'm a research nut, and so I'm a geek on that matter. And so, anything that's over $100, I really have to think about it, and I have to do the research. And that's what's happening with the luggage situation. I'm still doing research on what type of luggage I want to get, and what type of luggage that's going to last me, because I go back and forth to the airport, and you lugging that luggage here and there, and it gets on that little train tractor look thing, at the airport. And I've seen videos of the agents at the airport, you know, who handle the luggage, who's throwing the luggage here, throwing the luggage there. So you really got to have a really good, durable set of luggage to be able to withstand the torture and trauma that you know it's going to go through. So, you know, we're going to use my son's suitcase this time, but it'll give me a chance to continue to do some research. You know what I'm saying? So today, what am I doing? Well, I'm in the tiny studio and I'm repairing a shawl or a cape that my grandmother gave me. And she gave it to me maybe about 15 years ago or so. I was in the D, and it was kind of chilly, and I wanted something to go over my shoulders, you know, something that looked fancy but that would be warm. And so she gave me this cape. So it's been sitting up in my closet for a while. I wear it from time to time. However, I had noticed that the fur had been coming out of the shawl, out of the cape, and it's a mink fur. And I had been trying to repair it on and off for the past maybe 15 years. And I just wasn't doing a good job because I'm not really a good sewer per se. I wish I had a sewing machine, and that's another thing that I'm going to invest in is a sewing machine. And I am going to teach myself how to sew. All right. So let's stay tuned for all of that good stuff. But I I'm going back, like I said, I'm going back home next week to Detroit, and it's going to be kind of chilly. Right now here in Florida, it's about 90 something degrees outside, so it's really hot, you know. And I know that the temperature change for me is going to be drastic going back to Michigan. So I have several things that I'm going to pack to help me stay warm, right? And this cape is one of those things because it's going to also match some of the outfits that I'm going to be wearing while I'm in the D. So anyhow, the mink was coming out, and I knew that I needed to be repaired. And what I decided to do was to remove the mink. Okay, it's really mink. I told you I'm from Detroit. It's really mink. So I had to remove the mink from the shawl because it was coming out. And so I bought another faux fur, okay, that looks like mink. I bought a faux fur, and here's the package. I got it from Amazon. It came in this package, and this is what it looks like. And so I am adding it to the cape. So here's the cape. Kind of wrinkled. So I'm going to add it to the cape, which is what I've been doing for the past few nights. I've been adding the faux fur to this cape. And then after I do that, I'm going to steam it to get the wrinkles out. I'm going to use one of those what are those things called where you get the lint bobs off of your material, the little shaver. I think it's called a lint shaver. I'm gonna get the lint shaver, and we have like 3 because we have a couch in the great room, and a couch and a love seat, and a recliner that it's not really a recliner. It's just a really nice chair. And sometimes you can get those lint bobs on them. And so we have like 3 different types of lint shavers. And so we usually go over the couch. And the last time we did that, my husband did it, we had cleaned the couch. And so then he used that lint shaver thing to get all the lint bubbles out. And I'm going to do that to this top. I'm going to get all the lint bubbles out, and I'm going to steam it. And I'm going to, after it steams, then I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to wear it. I'm going to pack it. So this is how it looks so far. And that's what I'm doing today. I think I did a good job sewing this. It looks like it. I did. I'm not sure. Let me see. I think I did a good job sewing. Then I was thinking about not asking. I was thinking about putting some more fur on the inside of the cape. So like in this part right here, I was thinking about lining it as well so that it'll be fur on the outside and the inside of this cape. And then I ordered another cape that's a little bit heavier, and I ordered that to go with my outfit that I'm wearing to the wedding. And it's like a maroon cape. It's heavier than this, but it's not as heavy as my black fur cape or a coat that I have. And I don't think I'll be needing that. And I wore that back to Detroit one time, and that was in late November. I think that was in mid-November 2019. Okay. Why is that significant? Because I really do believe it was us coming, us going on that trip is where we got sick with the C word. And as soon as my husband, my son, and I got off the plane, we felt sick. It was just like that. We felt sick. And as soon as we walked into my grandmother's house, I asked her, did she have any echinacea? Did she have any golden seal and vitamin C? She did. And I started dosing us. I started dosing my husband. I dosed my son. I dosed myself. And we were in town for maybe 3 days. And, that's how we beat it. That's how we beat it. And then maybe a few weeks later, early January came around, and I read this article where it talked about the C word that was spreading over in China, and that it was becoming a problem, and that there was something going on here in the States that nobody really understood what it was, but people were getting sick and having severe flu-like symptoms. And I just kept doing what I had done for my husband and my son in the D, and I just kept doing it, and I'm doing it now. I made some more fire cider. I made some extra fire cider for my aunt in the D, so I'm going to be taking that up there to her. I'll be making some elderberry syrup. I'm going to have that on stock because I really believe, and I've been boosting our immune system. I've been boosting our immune system. My husband and I've been boosting it for the past 2.5 months now in preparation to go back to the D and to be well, because right now the C word is going around here in Florida. A lot of people are getting sick. I heard the other day, what's that little girl named? Dream Kardashian. She was on live and she was talking about how her cousin North has the C word. So it's going around, and as the weather really begins to change and go into the fall season and then transitions to the winter, more and more people are going to be sick. So you have to make sure that you take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and take care of your family. That's really important. That's something I've been teaching my children who live in the home and who live outside of the home, is to take care of yourself, boost your immune system. If you have issues with, saying, I don't want to take a vaccine, I don't want to get the flu shot, I don't want to do this and that and the other, but then you need to give yourself nature's shot and begin to take care of yourself. That's what you need to do, And so I've been talking to my kids about that, and I'm so happy that my daughter, the tiny studio assistant, has taken my advice, because she felt maybe about a week and a half ago, she felt run down. She felt like she was catching something because she works in a public place among people. And so I saw her coming in the house with she was already using my vitamin C, which I need to put on the list to get more vitamin C. She bought some vitamin C for her bathroom. You know, she gave her dad and I some. You know, she's been taking the golden seal, and she's been drinking peppermint juice and honey, and she's been drinking the dandelion teas that I have around here. Now, did I say peppermint juice? I mean peppermint tea. She's been drinking the dandelion tea, and she's been dosing herself with the fire cider. So she is good. You know, she felt run down. She felt like, you know, she felt that thing that you feel in your throat, but she took care of that. And that's what that is to me. That was an homage to all the work that I've been doing and trying to educate my family to become more healthy, to lead a healthier lifestyle, and to really be on top of things such as your immune system. And when you feel things are starting to go wrong with you, because you're out here working with the public, then there are precautions that you can take, and then there are things that you can do when you realize that your body is starting to fight something. You know, you can help boost your immune system so that your body can really fight, and fight hard, because that's what we want. We want our body to not only fight, but we want our body and our cells to fight really hard. And so they cannot fight hard if they are not fortified, and if we don't give them the ammunition that they need to be able to fight for us so that we can win. Right. So that's what I'm going to do right now in the tiny studio. I have the faux fur that I got from Amazon, and I have my sewing apparatuses, which is some thread. And that's one thing I do keep sewing items in the tiny studio, because I do understand I do need to there are many things that I do need to sew, and I wish I had a sewing machine, but I don't. But I don't mind hand sewing certain things, and I don't mind doing that. And so I keep especially with my Coach bags and my Coach Rehab, I keep a lot of needles and threads, and you know, very specific things, because when I am rehabbing a Coach bag, sometimes there are things that needs to be repaired or sewed on there, especially with leather. So I have different threads and needles for leather, for sewing things up. So here's my little case. It says sewing needles, and it's just an old Altoids container. It is. It's an old Altoids container. And I keep all the needles in there. I have a lot of needles. Here's some of the needles I have. I keep all the needles. And, you know, I try to keep them all in one place, because at one point, whenever I traveled, I would get to Detroit, or I would get to Vegas where my sister lived, and I would realize that I needed a needle and some thread, and I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't bring it with me, so I would go to the store and I'll purchase more needles and more thread. So let me tell you, I have a lot of needles and I have a lot of thread, and that's why I try to keep them contained. And I have another container just like this that says sewing needles. But I really want to invest in a sewing machine. Tell me in the comments below what type of sewing machine you think I should get. Now, what I've seen in the past from my mom and from my grandmother, who are avid sewers, you know, Singer seems to be the best deal. Seems to be the sewing machine that they love. My oldest daughter, Chaz, she's a sewer, and she did not get that from her mom, but she has a sewing machine, and I believe she has a brother sewing machine, and that's what she used to sew. When the C was really at its height, she made us masks, which was wonderful. So she got on the sewing machine, she just made us all masks us for her and my son, who were essential workers. So she made masks, and she also made masks for me and for her dad and the tiny studio assistant. Um, we appreciated that. That was a good thing. But she is most definitely a sewer. She makes all of her outfits and her costumes for Comic-Con, and she does a remarkable job. She made her this last Comic-Con. She was the princess from that movie called The Princess and the Frog. I think that's the name of the movie, with the African American princess, Disney princess. And so she made her whole outfit. It's just beautiful. I think one year she went as the Little Mermaid, didn't she? I think she went, yes. I think one year she went as the Little Mermaid, the African American, the Halle Bailey little princess or Little Mermaid. And she did that. She is a really good sword. Like I said, she did not get that from me. But it's in the genes. Obviously, it's in the genes because she was at that sewing machine working. And I would like to have a sewing machine because I want to learn to sew. Now maybe way back in the day, I learned to sew. And that's because I took a sewing class at Longfellow Middle School back in the 70s. And so I learned the basics of sewing, but I really wasn't a sewer. I just felt like I don't need to know how to sew. Why do I need to learn how to sew? My grandmother is a designer. My mom is a designer. If I need something, I want something, they know how to make it. So I don't need to learn how to sew. That was also my same rationale about cooking. I don't need to know how to cook. Everybody around me cooks, and one day I'm going to be rich and famous, and I'm going to have a chef. And the chef is going to do all the cooking. Why do I need to learn how to cook? It's that Sagittarius for you. You know what I mean? That reason and logic. But sometimes when you're young and inexperienced, it can work against you. So, I just never sat back to learn how to sew. And there were times when my grandmother was trying to teach me certain elements of sewing as I got older, and I was like, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. I know how. She taught me how to sew things by hand, so I've done that, and that's how I've gotten by as a wife and a mother. I know how to sew a button on. I know how to sew up a hem. You know what I mean? Right now I'm doing this. I can do basic things, but like my crochet quilt that I'm working on, I would like to know how to be able to sew a nice fabric quilt square onto the crochet quilt. And I know that I need to learn how to work a sewing machine to be able to do so. And then not only that, there are some things that I would like for myself. Like I would like to make a skirt or a top or something like that. I like to know how to do that, and design my own things. I'm getting back to that point in my life where I'm becoming I'm tuning into the creative side of myself, and I'm really starting to see the need to be more varied in how I create art. And having a sewing machine is an excellent tool for me to create the art that I want. And that's why I need to have a sewing machine, and I need to learn how to sew. That is very important. I see that time is getting away from us, unfortunately, and I really hate that. Because I really enjoy sitting here talking to you and enjoying having conversations with you. Here is some of the fur, and it's faux fur. And for a moment there, I was like, I don't want the faux fur. I want to go ahead and use some mink, but the mink was expensive. And then, being the fashion diva that I claim to be, I do know that, you know, fur, especially mink and rabbit, the animal cruelty of it all. I was watching a documentary on the fur industry, the fur and leather industry, and it was produced by the BBC. And I was watching, and I was really got a shocking education on how mink is raised, or how mink are raised, and the just terrible, terrible ways, the terrible ways that some of these companies, these manufacturers, these farms, how they are just really cruel to these animals, like the rabbits and the minks and the foxes. It's just sad. It's cruel. But I love the way mink feels. It's just a ooh, the fur is just so beautiful. It's so luxurious, so beautiful, so silky. And I wanted to buy some mink, but I think that the only way that I would buy any type of fur, such as mink or rabbit, that I would have to know for a fact that the distributor used humane methods in raising the mink and taking care of the mink, and gathering the fur from the mink, because I would have to know personally that this was a reputable and a person or a company or manufacturer who wouldn't be cruel or harm the minks, and treat them like they are the commodity that of course that they are, but they're still animals and they still deserve to be treated humanely, with a molecule of respect and dignity. I know that sounds crazy in me relating to animals, but I wouldn't want to wear a rabbit or a mink fur or anything like that on my body, knowing full well how that mink was acquired. I don't think I could handle that. I really don't. My oldest daughter used to be a member of PETA, and she was the one that turned me on to looking at, um, the aspects of animal cruelty that we as human beings inflict upon animals, whether it be for food, clothing, or any other things that we use animals for in our culture. And for a while, you know, I just thought that, well, we have to use animals. We've been using animals for various things, since we as human beings, really began to walk the earth and hunt animals down for the basic necessities that we have as human beings. But I do realize that there should be some type of, we should be able to give all life forms us, we should respect all life forms and treat all life forms with dignity, and that's something that I had to learn, especially growing into my grownness. I have learned that if you're going to correspond with nature in some type of way, then we have to respect life, you know. And so even though I wanted to purchase some mink for this cape, I decided that faux fur was fine. I decided that faux fur was fine, and it's beautiful, and who cares if it's not real? I just know for a fact that no animals were harmed in making this. And that's what helps me sleep at night. That's the main idea. So that's what I'm going to work with today. I'm going to cut some of this. I thought I had some scissors hanging around. I have some big scissors, but I have some scissors in my little crochet bag, and These scissors are super bad. I think I told you guys about these scissors. These scissors will cut you up. So let me see if I can get another length. Yep, it's cutting very well. Okay, it cut too well. Woo! These little scissors snippers, oh my God. I have to put them away too. Don't want to have them out because you will stab yourself. You will stab yourself. So let me, okay, this is what I'm working with. Take that out. And I'll put the rest. Okay, this was it. I hope I have enough. I think I do. I was also thinking about putting or adding the fur trim to the top of my cape, which would be right around the neck, like right around here. But I was wondering if that would be like too much, being that, you know, the fur is at the bottom. And then when I wrap the fur around myself, when I wrap the cape around myself, the fur will hit my neck anyway. So I probably don't need to put this faux fur anywhere else on the cape. This is probably fine. Yeah, that looks cute, don't it? It looks cute. It looks cute. I like it. This looks nice. This looks nice. This is fine. All right then. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to sit up here and do some work. Got my needle. Got it threaded. I got my thread here. And then, you know, another thing that I've been doing is I've been buying really great thread. So this thread is called it's a machine quilting thread, and it's by Coates and Clark, and it's really strong thread, and I really like it. It's really strong, and I have a lot of it, you know. So I'm not going to run out anytime soon. I really like this thread. I have leather threads in my bag as well for my Coach bags. But anyhow, I am going to, it's getting late, and I didn't mean to hold you guys on here so long. It's Friday though, so it's Friday. So I am going to let you all go, and make sure that you like this video. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And then not only that, if you would like to, and I would like you to think about becoming a sustainable member of the channel. I hop into the Tiny Studio members only lounge sometimes twice or 3 times a month, and I give you an update on what's going on the channel, what the scheduling will look like for the month, and then I also give you some little personal tidbits about myself. So if you would like to come into the Tiny Studio lounge and hang out with me, your girl Nell, come on and do so, okay? All right, I am out of here. I'm going to get started working on this, and I'll see you guys next time in the Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.